Hello everyone and welcome back guys to TSRL, and today we're here for the Monaco Grand Prix. And honestly, I was not looking forward to this one. Unfortunately, going into this Grand Prix, obviously this is recorded on Fridays, my wheel had decided over the course of the day to just not work. I don't know what it was in the end. I did contact Thrustmaster in the end. They did give me a fix. Those guys are absolute legends in that sense. But yeah, unfortunately, it meant that I had done 2 laps of practice for this, and in a track where you need to have confidence, this is certainly that track. And unfortunately, with 2 laps of practice, it doesn't quite fill me with much confidence. We did qualify 8th. I think it was less than 3/10 off pole, just goes to show how tight it really was by a lot of the guys there. But it is lights out, and away we go for the Monaco Grand Prix. We do get a good start against Ash there, but in towards turn 1, just nothing we can do on the outside there. He will actually trim the corner as well there, but yeah, unfortunately not able to capitalise off the start there of the Monaco Grand Prix. And honestly, I'm going to come straight out and say this race is not going to be one of many highlights. It was an absolute... It was sort of like a mess. It sort of just wasn't. I'm actually going to leave the footage going in the background whilst I sort of just explain the problem with league racing at Monaco. Obviously, Monaco is a bit of a backwards track anyway. It's a bit of a rare sort of race circuit. Obviously, there is no real track like it on Formula 1, really. And that unfortunately means that, from personal experience, it's basically, with all the sort of tyre models and new tyre systems and everything like that on F1 2018, it's basically unraceable. And when I mean unraceable, I don't mean like broken in terms of a driving... Well, I do technically mean broken in terms of driving sense. I mean, it's just painful to race on, unfortunately. And I know, obviously, it's meant to be like real life and everything like that, but you can't race around here on F1 2018. I'm not saying you could anyway on the older games or anything like that, but unfortunately, with just the way the tyre model works, you can't sit within about 3 seconds of the car ahead, or you'll either lose front wing from sort of random dirty air spikes, I've found. I don't know if this is just an issue with Monaco, or whether it's just a permanent issue on the game, but like, I'd find one lap I'd be sat half a second behind the car in front, and I'd get through the corner absolutely fine. Next lap, I felt like I'd do exactly the same thing, and there would just be a complete wash over the front end. Nothing I could do about it. So a little bit weird in terms of that sense. So you're either going to have that and lose part of your front wing and basically have to pit anyway, or you're just going to overheat the tyres because you're not even pushing behind the car in front of you, and yet you're still just overheating the tyres absolutely massively there. So it's a bit frustrating to race around here on the whole. And honestly, I could try and leave you guys with like 10-minute highlights or anything like that. But seriously, after about the first 3 laps, it was literally just a case of I would either lose my front wing and have to pit behind someone, or someone else would lose their front wing, have to pit, and it would literally just be highlights of just people pitting and, you know, me going past them and then me pitting and dropping back down the order overall there. So yeah, a bit frustrating on the whole. We would end up a lap down. Unfortunately, it basically just means, like the real-life Monaco Grand Prix, if you're on pole, then you're going to win. And unfortunately, I sort of get how a lot of people might just look at this and think I'm just complaining about the game. But ultimately, you know, Monaco, this is almost a bit of a heads up for people that will be league racing around here. It's not going to be an enjoyable experience. It's going to be more like real life than ever before. And at least unlike the older games and stuff, you can actually sort of pull off overtakes here and there. You know, potentially if you had like a much quicker, you know, compounded tyre on the car like I was able to do on F1 2016, you could still line up moves and go for moves every so often. But on F1 2018, it is just impossible here. So yeah, unfortunately, yeah, it may come across as like a very much complainy video. I can only apologise for that. You know, that is not the intent. As I said, it is just a heads up. For any of you that are racing at the Monaco Grand Prix, be prepared. It's not going to be a particularly enjoyable experience. Sit 3 seconds behind the car in front and just try not to lose your front wing. Focus on that. Yeah, it's basically like real life on the whole there. As we come on to the final lap of the race, that, as I said, I had been lapped. We will go from P8 to P8, which I found quite funny there in the end. As I said, very, very frustrated with the fact that with 2 laps worth of practice, you know, we could have easily been right up towards the front if I'd been able to have a lot more practice over the course of the day. You know, we only needed 3 more tenths. I missed out on going for my final run in qualifying by less than a second. It was actually a bit weird. I might try and, you know, sort it out in a different video of its own, talking about the qualifying system on this game. But yeah, unfortunately, it meant that I couldn't start my final flying run. It meant that I was on a run that was a lot slower. I could have really felt like I could have been right up there for pole in the end, but unfortunately, it just was not the case to be in the end. Missed out on pole by 0.3 of a second. Start P8. That's quite possibly the closest grid I think I've ever seen in a league race here. But yeah, through the final few corners, though, we are still going to make it to the end, though, of the Monaco Grand Prix, which is obviously the most important thing on the whole. Take him a few more points. You can see even just by myself how much the tyres just overheat. It's absolutely impossible to drive on there as you come through the final couple of corners there. But congrats to KJ. We're able to come through to win the race on the whole there. I'm not too sure who came through in P2. I think it was actually a Renault. Sorry, no, a Red Bull even, if I'm not mistaken. We'll get a look at the results in just a second there. But yeah, what a frustrating way to spend an hour of my evening. But fortunately for you guys, obviously the highlights are only going to be about 6 minutes long on the whole here. But P8, 4 points in the bag. I'll certainly take that. Stewie did come through for P2 ahead of Ben, Evansy, Raikkonen, Danny, Eagle, myself, Senna, and ZLC I think was actually disconnected there. So I think Clays will get the final point at the end of the day. But yeah, a disappointing day, but obviously to warn you guys about this game, Monaco League Racing. Prepare yourself, honestly guys, I would just say that. But thank you all so much for watching this video. Make sure you do like and subscribe if you're new around here as well. And if you want to see hopefully more sort of actual league racing highlights rather than just sort of a bit of a rant video about Monaco. But yeah, that is it from me, and I will see you guys next time.